Hello folks, welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence. Today is Wednesday, that means it is Jerry on Ice. My name is Dustin Jones, I'm one of two lead faculty in the older adult division. Welcome to the home office. We've got an awesome episode today. One, we have a huge announcement that I'll get to in just a second. Two, the content for today is going to be very applicable for you in how you can leverage some balance interventions with a very special app called the Clock Yourself app, and how to scale that, whether you're in home health, skilled nursing facility, outpatient, or you're working with professional athletic teams. Very useful, and I'll show you how to be able to scale that. So in terms of the big announcement, we are starting the certification in modern management of the older adults. So that's CERT MMOA. So Christine and I started teaching these courses about a couple years ago, and it became very, very apparent that we needed to create a certification for a few reasons. One is we wanted to provide folks with a pathway to be able to have the knowledge, the experience, but then also the confidence that they are able to implement a lot of the material that we cover, like being able to load and apply the squat, the deadlift, the loaded carry, floor transfers, things along those lines. To be able to do a thorough examination for someone that may be an older adult, regardless of their medical complexity, and be able to create an evidence-based plan of care to absolutely impact those folks. To be confident and competent in being able to handle the medical complexity, but also the psychosocial complexity of many older adults. And then also to be able to market to some of these people, to be able to run workshops, to be able to speak their language, and to demonstrate that these folks are the providers of choice in their community to better serve older adults. We wanted to create courses that did that, and now we have a certification that really puts our stamp of approval. It will help you know that you are able to implement this material. Will also be a good leverage point for you in your community, to have that CERT MMOA after your name, to really identify that, hey, I am the guy or gal that is certified in modern management of the older adult. I can help you age well and achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and absolutely help you change your life. You'll be able to demonstrate that, and you'll also be able to communicate that well. So CERT MMOA, here is how you can achieve the certification. So it's similar to the CERT CMFA. You take Modern Management of the Older Adult Essential Foundations, which our next cohort starts on March 18th. You also, once you complete through that, you take Modern Management of the Older Adult Advanced Concepts. That starts this evening at 8 p.m. on March 11th. And then once you've gone through those, you can take Modern Management of the Older Adult, the live course. At the live course, we do a skills check. At the end of the course, you're going to have a couple cases. We ask you some questions and to demonstrate things, and then you'll get pass or fail. If you've already taken MMOA Live, that's okay. You can take MMOA Live in any order. That's the beautiful thing about this. However, Essential Foundations, you have to complete that to get into Advanced Concepts. So you can take MMOA Live at any point and pass that skills test. Then you have to pass MMOA Essential Foundations, and then you have to pass MMOA Advanced Concepts. Once you've done all three of those, you go on the PT on Ice website, go under certifications, there's the CERT MMOA. You click a button and you let us know, and then you will become a certified individual in modern management of the older adult. We're super excited about this. If you have any questions, let me know, and we will be able to address them in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that's a big announcement. Now on to today's content. If you're listening on the podcast, this is still going to be very helpful, but I also encourage you to check out the Facebook video, or it'll be on YouTube as well, associated with this podcast. So over the past probably over a month, I've been going through Beyond the Berg. How can we go beyond the Berg with our balance assessments, also our interventions, and actually let our interventions match up to what we find on a thorough assessment? So today we're wrapping that series up, and we're going to be discussing mostly intervention. We talked about the assessment piece and how we really want to tease out, where does balance break down? Is there an issue with the inputs? Is there an issue more with the outputs? That anticipatory balance capacity, maybe sensory orientation, maybe the reactive postural control or dynamic gait issues, or whenever there's cognitive complexity, balance may start to break down. Typically what we're seeing in terms of balance programs is there's lack of thorough assessment, but there's also a lack of really addressing that reactive postural control, but then also adding complexity, cognitive complexity to a lot of our tests, to really ramp things up and to be more like what people, see in real life, to make sure that our programs in the clinic or different settings are actually going to translate into their day-to-day lives. So we want to talk about one of our most leveraged and used apps to make Balance more fun, to include that reactive component, but then also to be able to scale on complexity, whether physical complexity or cognitive complexity. And that's the Clock Yourself app. We've talked about this a lot, but I want to show you how this can be scaled and applied to folks regardless of their capacity. And I'll walk you through what this may look like with someone from kind of a low-level patient all the way up to an upper-level patient. So Clock Yourself app, you pull it up. There's options to where you have, the full clock around. You're basically pretending like you're standing in the middle of the clock. Meg Lowry is the creator of this app. She will call out the number in her amazing Australian accent. You step to that number and then you come back to the middle. It's kind of how it starts. Typically with folks, what I will do is I will make sure they are able to see the clock, that they are able to kind of orient to it and see where they should step. Because that makes it a little simpler. You can manipulate the speed. You can also manipulate what side of the clock you would use. So let's say I require upper extremity assistance. I'm using a walker of some sort. We can still work on this reactive component as well. We can really take the clock and we can make it to the point where it just calls out the back half of the clock. So I'm going to go ahead, change my clock face to the bottom half, and I'll turn this up to make sure you can hear it. So I may be holding on, I may prop this up, for example, right here so they can still see it if this is a rollator. I'm gonna change the speed to about 60 steps per minute. Meg's gonna call out and we're gonna get rolling. 9.
5.
And I'm stepping to that number, coming back. 6. 8. 7.
3.
Boom, and you get the point. Let's say I only need support on one side. I can also change the clock face to be a left side or right side clock face as well. And then once people are pretty comfortable, then we can move the chair out and we can do a full clock face. So full clock face, we'll do 60 steps per minute. 11, boom, come back. 10, come back. 2, come back. 5, come back. Obviously, I would have a gait belt on to guard them. Now, typically, I am standing behind my patients and kind of stepping with them, making sure that I'm not in their way when they step back to 5, 6, or 7, or one of those numbers, but just being very, very aware and cognizant of that. You can also add a little conditioning component to this as well. So with a lot of people, I will add in a sit to stand, a burpee if they're rather fit individuals, in between some of the numbers. So I'm going to change the clock face to only calling out the top half. I'm going to take the speed down to about 40 steps per minute. And so I'm going to sit down. Meg will call out a number. 10. Sit down. Stand up. 1. 12. And you get the idea there. You can really get people huffing and puffing with that one, and really have a strengthening component as well, which is super, super helpful. There's other ways we can manipulate some of these variables. You are able to add action prompts. So I could add action prompts such as sent a touchdown, which is basically touching the ground and coming back up, biceps, which is bicep curls, chest presses, and then punches as well. And so what some folks will do is they will actually give people dumbbells to perform some of these activities as they're stepping. You can scale up the cognitive component once you go to the gold level, and you can change what the numbers are. So you can do months of the year, for example. So number 1 is January, number 9 is September, for example. You could also make those numbers the minutes of a clock. If you're a millennial, you are absolutely screwed because many of us don't even know what a clock face is anymore. You could also do double numbers and lots of different things. And so I'll go ahead and show you what the month looks like.
February.
2. March. 3. So
June.
you can really ramp this up, ramp up the speed as they get more comfortable, and that's going to be a pretty awesome intervention for folks. I want to mention that you don't necessarily have to have someone that's standing to use this. There's lots of folks that may do a Clock Yourself app in sitting, for example. So sitting and maybe having a surface around, maybe with some Post-it notes or whatnot, some target to touch, where Meg will call out that number and they'll lean forward, reach for that. Or Alan Fredendall does this all the time, where he will take Post-it notes and post it up on a wall in a clock shape on a wall, making sure he's outside of the reach of his patient. And Meg will call the number out and they have to reach up, step and reach for that particular number. You can really scale the complexity of adding that, but then also adding some obstacles to navigate with their feet. There's tons of things that you can do to leverage the power of this app. So what I will leave you with now is showing you the cardio setting, which things get pretty dicey pretty quickly here. So Meg will say touch a particular number. Maybe she'll say double one, where you hop to one and come back. She may say, let's say 7 and 1, where you go 7 and 1 and split. You may have to touch the number like I said, and you can really ramp the speed up to where it becomes rather interesting pretty quickly. So 10 to touchdown. 11 and 5. 4. 7. 8 and 2. Send to touchdown. 10 and 4. And so on. You can imagine that was 60 steps per minute. This goes all the way up to 120 steps per minute. So you can only imagine how challenging that can get. So that's a quick run through with the Clock Yourself app. If you find patients that have difficulty with their reactive stepping, if you find them having difficulty when there's more of an increased load in terms of cognitive demand, they have difficulty dual tasking, whether motor or cognitive dual tasking, this app is so worth the $2 or $3 that you'll spend. This will become a pretty common staple in your treatment sessions, and I love to use it. I know many other clinicians do as well in all kinds of different settings. So that's Clock Yourself app. I'll put a link in the description. There's no affiliation with this app or Meg. I'm just a big fan of what she does and what she's done for Jerry PT. So love to share the work that she does. Once again, CERT MMOA, we're very excited to launch this today. Once again, if you go through MMOA Essential Foundations, MMOA Advanced Concepts, and you go to MMOA Live, pass the skills check, you can become certified in modern management of the older adult, which is going to set you ahead of your peers, potentially open up some new revenue streams, and help you really change some lives of the older adults in your community. So if you have questions, hit me up. Links are going to be in the video. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.